want to bring in civil rights attorney Kristen Gibbons Feden for more on this. Kristen, this seemed like a big moment in the prosecution's line of questioning. To hear the doctor that treated George Floyd, that pronounced him dead officially, saying that he believes that what caused George Floyd's heart to stop was essentially asphyxia. What did you make of that moment?
This was a pivotal moment in the prosecution's case. He established that the cause of death was asphyxiation, which, as we know from the video, would be caused by the knee, Chauvin's knee on Mr. Floyd's neck. It also showed throughout his testimony, I know we only saw a blurb, that there was also a failure to care for the witness at the patient, Mr. Floyd, at the crime scene. So it shows also that duty of care element to an extent. And what the jury heard from this doctor, who, as you mentioned, pronounced Mr. Floyd dead, ultimately, was that it was neither the drugs nor the underlying heart condition that was the likely cause of his death, but rather the asphyxiation, right? The knee on Mr. Floyd's neck that was a substantial causal factor in Mr. Floyd's death, which is pivotal for the prosecution.
Now, the defense tried to counter that by asking, can methamphetamines cause asphyxia, as he termed it? He said, this, even though you're using the word asphyxia, could it be caused by drugs? I want to show you that quick clip. This is at the very beginning of the defense's cross-examination of this witness, and then get your reaction to that.
Hypoxia is the lack of oxygen to the brain, correct?
Correct.
Right. And there are many things that cause hypoxia that would still be considered asphyxiation. Agreed?
Correct.
Drug use. Certain drugs can cause hypoxia. Agreed? Yes. Specifically fentanyl?
That's correct.
How about methamphetamine?
It can.
Combination of the two?
Yes.
So clearly the defense here is trying to raise, okay, you just said he died by asphyxiation in your best opinion, but that asphyxiation doesn't necessarily mean what we, the lay people, think it means. It could have been caused by drugs. This is going to be a huge part of the defense. So how big is that moment, and how did you think that carried out as the prosecution came back?
I thought it was helpful for the defense for Mr. Nelson to cross-examine this doctor on those elements. However, again, I think this is a unique case because the video evidence really shows us that it was asphyxiation through knee on the neck. These are very common sense things that a jury can understand. Every juror has a knee, a neck, and common sense would allow individuals to conclude that if an individual has a knee crushing his neck for an extended period of time, such that he then is able to move and then becomes unresponsive, it really counters any allegation of drug overdose or some type of underlying heart condition. I think also in the direct examination of this doctor also kind of undercuts Mr. Nelson's cross-examination in a number of ways, but most significantly, that all of the life-saving efforts, one that he was told from the paramedics, as well as the ones that he actually employed, were all towards assisting with resuscitating Mr. Floyd's breath, which again shows that at the time that the doctor was employing life-saving efforts, he was motivated to help him regain oxygen because Mr. Floyd stood before him as an oxygen-deprived patient.
Now, we should point out that the medical examiner said in his own report and in court filings that he couldn't rule out that it's possible George Floyd could have died in relation to the drugs, could have died were it not for the knee on the neck. But that strikes me as why this doctor's testimony is so important, because it seemed like the prosecution was trying to go through a checklist of everything the defense is going to try to argue may have caused his death instead of the knee on the neck, and this doctor explaining why those were not at top of mind as he was going through and ruling things out, and why he thought ultimately it came down to lack of oxygen.
Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think one of the also crucial moments of his testimony was just distinguishing what we as lay people, non-medical professionals, believe cardiac arrest is, which we kind of think of it as a heart attack, to then distinguish it and say cardiac arrest, which is what is on the ME report, the cardiopulmonary attack or arrest, can also include oxygen deprivation, which is what the prosecution is trying to assert is the substantial causal factor of Mr. Floyd's death.
Right. It seemed like they were going back and forth a little bit on, but his carbon dioxide levels were high. That could indicate it was caused by drugs. And under the prosecution's questioning, the judge, the doctor, rather than explain that that could be caused by the cardiac arrest, not necessarily the thing that caused the cardiac arrest. So we got a little technical there, but it seemed like a lot was established there, both by the prosecution and the defense.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.